Thank you. Good morning, Kahal Kadosh. Beruchim Abaim to everyone. Chodesh Tov v'Siman Tov. Today, Friday, Erev Shabbat Kodesh, Perashiyot, Tazria, Tahor. First day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. 15th day of the Omer. The 30th day of Nisan. Today, thanks to the kindness of Shul.com and the organization, we are welcoming the great speaker, the Maggid of America, Rabbi Paysach Krohn, that is spending this weekend in South Florida. And we are fortunate enough to welcome the great Hacham to speak in our Kehillah for today, Friday, Erev Shabbat. The Rabbi will be visiting later on today many yeshivot, some kollalim, and will be visiting many other synagogues throughout the Shabbat. And Be'ezat Hashem, we wish the great Rabbi to have great berachah and aslahah in his spread of Torah. In his spread of Torah, literally worldwide. The Rabbi is an author, a mohel, the author of the Maggid series by ArtScroll, which is an encyclopedia of beautiful, beautiful stories of tzaddikim and connected to the greater tzaddikim of the previous generation. And it's not something that can be taken for granted that a speaker of this magnitude is visiting our Kehillah today. We say thank you to the Kahal Kadosh that's staying overtime. I know it's Erev Rosh Chodesh, or Rosh Chodesh rather, but Erev Shabbat. And when the coordination of this lecture came about, we were a bit skeptical. Maybe do it on Sunday, maybe pick up a better day, but the Shlomo HaMelech says, Davar ve'ito matov. Matters will happen when they're supposed to happen. So we are thankful to the sponsors of the magnificent breakfast of today, in honor of the Rabbi and in honor of Rosh Chodesh, and the large crowd that we have today, despite the lateness of the hour. So in a few moments, I will do something that you know me long enough, I don't do usually at this hour of the day, that basically stay quiet and do more listening than do more talking. But also part of a person, the way the Gemara writes, that a person needs to know when to speak, when to stay quiet, and when to be a good listener. So at least today I'll do 2 out of 3. I become a good listener and I'll stay quiet, but I'm giving over the mic to Rabbi Paysach Krohn, Shelita, to give us some words of Torah in honor of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Haba Aleinu Letova. Rabbi, you're welcome to put it like this, like mine. Amen.
Rabotai, I would like to begin by giving all of you a great bracha. I once saw that the month of Iyar, Aleph, Yud Resh, you know what it stands for? Ani Hashem Rofecha. I am God, your doctor. So this is a month that everybody should have rifuot, everybody should have briyut, and should have nachat. And the women, of course. The rabbi said that he's going to be silent. So I want you to know that I once heard, listen to this, you'll never forget this. The word listen and the word silent are spelled with the exact same letters. You know that? Because when you listen, you got to be silent. Because sometimes when somebody's talking to you, you say, yeah, I know, I want to tell you about, don't talk. You want to listen, you got to be silent. And the rabbi is smart enough to say that even without realizing that beautiful thought. So I want to begin by telling you a very interesting story that can change every single one of us for the rest of our lives. In 1903, there was a great rabbi in Poland. He was the second Rebbe of Ger, the Sfas Emes, and he passed away. He was only 56 years old. And at his funeral, there were thousands of people, because there were many, many Chasidei Gur in Poland at the time. Now his son, Rabbi Avram, was going to be the next Rebbe. He was called the Imre Emes. So now at the funeral, the Imre Emes was walking with his brother, and he said to his brother, you know, at least our father had Arichas Yomim. Arichas Yomim means length of days. So his brother Rabbi Tzala said, what are you talking about? He only lived to be 56. That's not Arichas Yomim. Listen to the brilliant answer that the Imrei Emes gave his brother. He said, I didn't say that our father had Arichas Shonim. I said that our father had Arichas Yomim. There's a great difference between Arichas Shonim and Arichas Yomim. Arichas Shonim means length of years. 80, 90, 100. No one in the world can guarantee for themselves Arichas Shonim. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We've all seen that with COVID and so many different things. Nobody can guarantee for themselves Arichas Shonim. But every single one of us can guarantee for ourselves Arichas Yomim. Arichas Yomim means length of days. That means to make the most out of every day. And when we come during Sfirat HaOmer together in a holy Beis HaKnesset such as this, we have to make a commitment that we are not only counting our days, but we have to make our days count. Every day has to be special. That's what we came here this morning for. To talk about for a few moments. How do we make every day special? No matter what age you are, whether you're 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, every day can be special. Every day, so that we should have Arichas Yomim. Again, because we can't guarantee Arichas Shonim, but we certainly can guarantee Arichas Yomim. And you know, the Chavetz Chaim says something very interesting. The Chavetz Chaim says, how can we get Arichas Yomim? And he says in Safra Avas Chesed, in the 12th chapter, and listen to the first word that he says, Uma'oid. It's very important. He doesn't say that by everything that he writes. But here he writes, Uma'oid. It's very important, Tzorech li Zoher. A person has to be careful that he doesn't miss one day in his life to do a favor for another Jew. Every day you got to do a favor for another Jew. Now, I'm not talking a husband for a wife for a husband. That you got to do if you know it's good for you. I'm talking about out of the house. And people say, well, doesn't charity begin at home? Yeah, but you're not such a big tzaddik just because you bought your wife flowers on Friday. And she's not such a big tzaddik just because you made your coffee in the morning. Every day, what I would say from today on, every person here and every person watching should keep a notebook where you write down every day a chesed that you did for somebody else. And you will see that your life will change. You know why? Because David HaMelech says, Hashem tzilcha. God is your shadow. And if you do for others, others will do for you. But the Chavetz Chaim doesn't stop there. And he writes like this. Just like a Jew should do a favor every day, Ish HaYisraeli, every Jewish person, tzarech lezoher le'inyan kviyas itim la'Torah b'chol yom. Every day we should be learning something. That goes for the men, for the young men, the children, the women. Every day we have to learn some Torah. Some can learn Gemara. Some can learn Halacha. Some can learn Chumash. Some can learn Tanakh. But now, as we are going towards Shavuot, every day we got to do two things. Do a favor for another Jew and learn some Torah. And if you keep a notebook and you write down one chesed that you did or something that you learned, you will see, you will grow. Now, many people ask the question, imagine if I told you that you won the Mega Millions, right?
Inshallah.
Bezrat Hashem, right? Now, if I told you you're going to win it in 49 days, how would you count? Oh, 48 days till I get that money and I can get out of here, right? Or 46 days, 45 days, I can tell my boss where to get off, right? You would, every day you would be counting lower and lower. So if that's the case, if we're counting to Shavuot, and that's a great holiday, why are we counting 1 to 49? We should count down. Just like if you win a lottery, 49 down to 1. And the Bnei Yissaschar says, you know why? Because the main thing is not the counting. The main thing is every day we're growing. And when you grow, you go higher and higher and higher. So today on the 15th day of the Omer, we should be higher than we were on the 13th. And tonight when we count 16, that means we should be higher tonight than we are today. How are we going to do that? If you do a chesed every day and you learn Torah every day, you're going to be a better person. Now I want to tell you a story that I think is one of the greatest stories ever that I heard, and one of the greatest stories that I ever wrote. I recently wrote a book called The Grandeur of the Maggid. I made this story the first one because I think this will show us how great we can all become and how great Jews can be. There's a family in Har Nof in Israel. A father and a mother and 7 children. Very tight-knit family, very close to each other. They don't have much money, but every year they go with the children on a vacation. And they are very misudar. That means they're very organized. And what they do is they write out all the places they're going to go, and they print it up, and they give every child itinerary to tell them where they're going. And they tell the children, don't forget, don't ask us in the middle, you want to go this place and that place. This is what we can afford this year. We're going up to Tveria. We're going to have jeeping in Tveria, a boat ride in the Kinneret, and no restaurants, don't forget. Mommy's making all the lunches and all the snacks. No restaurants and no eateries, because in the summer everything is expensive. Of course, the family doesn't have a car. They rented a car. And the first day they went up towards Tveria and Netanya. They come to Netanya, it's gorgeous. On the water, there's picnic tables, and the kids are eating the lunches that their mother brought. And when they finish, the Abba says, okay guys, let's get in the car. We got a long trip to Tveria. All the kids get in the car except one boy, 7-year-old Zevi. So the father says, Abba, how come you're not getting in the car? Little boy says. He's 7? Okay, so you can imagine. A kid like that. He's Zevi? Oh my gosh. Are you really?
Yeah.
And he's 7?
He shouted, I am Zevi.
Oh my heavens. I mean, it's Menachem.
Can't get better than that.
I'm telling you. I'm not a Navi, but sometimes God puts words in your mouth. I have no idea.
Never know, Rabbi.
No, I didn't know. Remind me if I come back next year, I'll tell about 8-year-old Zevi. But anyway, so 7-year-old Zevi says, Abba, I can't get in the car. He said, why not? He says, I got to use the bathroom. I got to use the facilities. He said, look, there's no bathrooms there. There's just picnic tables. He said, Abba, you said it's a long trip to Tveria. I'm not going to make it. So the father looks around. He sees, like in the distance, a block away, or the distance of a block, there's a restaurant. Now, he knew that the restaurants don't like when you just come in and you don't buy anything, but what's he going to do? So he says, okay, guys, let's get in the car. We're going to drive up there. They come into the restaurant. The waitress is at the door. She says, can I help you? And the father says, look, I'm so sorry. We got a big family here, but we're not coming to buy anything. My little son, he needs the bathroom. Could you let him use the bathroom? I know we're not buying anything here, but, we got a long trip to Tveria. She looks around the whole restaurant, and she says, okay, make it quick. So the boy runs to the back. He does what he has to do. And then he's walking in the middle of the restaurant, to go out. His father meets him. And they're just about ready to leave the restaurant when the waiter, the Israeli waiter, who's got a terrible temper, his name is Rafi. And he said, anybody here named Rafi? You're Rafi?
No, he's a nice guy.
Oh, he's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
I didn't say Raphael, I said Rafi. Okay. So listen to this. He says, then what are you doing here? Who gave you permission to come in here? You don't buy anything? You just use this place? All you guys are the same. You take advantage. And the father doesn't know what to say. I mean, the waitress is standing on the side and he sees, she's watching and she's listening. If he says that she let him in, he's going to fire her. So he thinks quickly and he says, excuse me, sir, you're yelling for no reason. He said, what do you mean? He says, my family, we're all coming in to eat here. He said, oh, I didn't realize. How many people are you? He says, in total 9. He says, oh my God, I'm so... She said, don't be sorry, just set the tables. So now he sends Zevi into the car and he tells him, tell Ima that we're coming in here to eat. And the mother doesn't believe it. We never went to a restaurant. He says, Abba said we got to come in. They all come down. They all sit at the table. The kids never saw food like this. They never saw prices like this. They never saw a menu. And they're eating. The mother says everybody can have one dish and one drink. When they're finished, they notice that there's a lot of activity by the kitchen. And there's 6 waiters. Each one is carrying a drink, ice cream in one hand, and cake and sparklers in the other hand, and they're coming to the table. So the father stands up, he says, excuse me, there's a mistake here. We didn't order dessert. And the owner of the restaurant comes over and says, sit down, young man, I want to tell you something. He says, when you guys sat down to eat, that waitress, she came into the kitchen and she was crying. I said to her, why are you crying? She said, I just saw a family do something for me. Nobody in my life ever did that for me. They weren't coming in here to eat. But when they saw I was going to get in trouble, they spent a fortune just so that Rafi shouldn't fire me. Rafi shouldn't get angry at me. That was not their intention. So when we heard that you're a special family, we want to give you a special dessert. So what happens is they finish the dessert and the father says to the waiter, I'd like to get a bill. So the waiter comes and on the bill it says, if you ever come back here again, it's 50% off. So he says, yeah, but I want to pay for today. What about for today? I appreciate for the future. Listen to what the owner says. The owner comes over to him and he says like this, young man, we have a policy in this restaurant. We only charge people. We don't charge malachim. Imagine that. We don't charge angels. And that's what we could all become. Do you know what the Bnei Yisachar says? Why is the Sefirah 49 days? Where does that come from? Why not 59? Why not 39? What's 49? And he says something so amazing. He says in Pirkei Avot, in Perek Beis, Mishnah Hey, it tells us that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was sitting with his Talmidim and he said to everybody, what's the best midah that somebody should have? What's the best characteristic? One said, be a good neighbor. One said, have a good eye, don't be jealous. Another one said, be a good friend. You know what? Rabbi Lezer ben Aruch said, everybody should have lev tov, a good heart. Now watch this, you got to fasten your seatbelts. How much is lev equal? Lamed Beis. 32. How much is tov equal? 17. How much is 32 and 17?
49.
49. Oh, that's why it's 49 days. Imagine that. That's what the Bnei Yisachar says, because during these days, we have to become people of Lev Tov. That's what we said before. You want to have Arichat Yomim. We can't guarantee Arichat Yomim. You want to have let's become that Lev Tov. And I just want to end just with this thing. Imagine if you were Rabbi Akiva and you lost 24,000 Talmidim in 33 days. You know what the average is? 727 a day. Imagine Rabbi Akiva, the poor Rebbe, he's losing so many students and he's going to so many funerals. And everybody's crying all over the place. I would imagine if we were Rabbi Akiva, we would say, okay, God, I'm out of here. You want a different teacher? You don't think I'm teaching Torah right? I'm out of here. That's not what he said. He said, you know, I got to get different rabbis. Some say he got 5, some say he got 7. He said, we got to teach Torah again, but this time we got to teach it different. Not only the Torah, we got to teach Midot. We didn't teach them to give kavod one to the other. And then the Midrash tells us, Umolu kol Eretz Yisrael Torah. He taught these Talmidim and they taught others until they filled the whole Torah. You know what that shows us? Never give up. We've gone through difficult times in the last couple of years. COVID, Surfside, not far from here, Meron, Ukraine, all the anti-Semitism. A person could get depressed. A person could feel, oh my gosh, what's happening to this world? It's crazy. I'm out of here. No. That's why we come here this morning. To give chizuk to each other. To make sure that we're all there for each other in the difficult times. And I just want to end with this beautiful poem. And this is a poem that I see that many Syrians sing at a Brit Milah. And it's in the Piyutim. Now I'm going to read it in Hebrew because I want you to see the poetry and then I'll translate. And with that we'll close.
We can sing it too, maybe.
You know it?
I don't know. Let me hear.
Okay. Ben Adam, lama tidag al adamim, v'lo tidag al hayamim. Ki hadamim einam oizrim, v'hayamim einam chayzrim. Redoif acha haTorah v'hamitzvot asher heim la'ad kayamim. Ben Adam, mankind, what are you worried about money? Lama tidag al hadamim, that's not what's going to make people happy. Some of the richest people have done some of the worst things to themselves because they're not fulfilled. They don't feel happy. They own so much, they own half the world, but they're not happy. The Lord tidag al hayamim, you're not worried about your days. If you make every day count, you're going to feel good about yourself. Ki adamim einam oizrim. In the long run, money's not going to make the difference. V'hayamim einam chayzrim. The days that go back, they're not coming back. You know, April 10th is not coming back. April 15th is not coming back. Those days of our youth are gone. We got to make the most of every day. Redof achan haTorah v'hamitzvot. Run after Torah and mitzvot. Asher heim la'ad kayamim. That's eternity. You have a great rabbi here who's been here for many years, who's a role model of what it means to make the most out of every day. I've been to this synagogue before, and there was a woman who is today in Israel. Some of you may know her, Rachel Alfasi, and I just wanted to mention her because she was the one who first brought me to this synagogue. Hashem should bless all of you. In the month of Iyar, Ani Hashem Rofecha, we should all be healthy, we should all be well. Every one of us should have Arichas Yomim, and if it's possible, Arichas Shonim.
And you too.
Thank you for inviting me. And Zevi, Zevi, tell me when you're 8 years old, I have to change your story.
Chazak Baruch, Rabbi Paysach Krohn, for a powerful words of Chizuk and inspiration in this magnificent day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Thank you to shul.com for making this possible for us and the Kahal Kadosh that stayed over time. The song that the rabbi read is actually a Hakdama to the song that says so that's a beautiful Hakdama to the song. So we wish the rabbi to have great beracha v'saha in all his endeavors and continue to spread the Torah through the power of the penmanship and the koach hadibur that Hashem give him. We wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom and Chodesh Tov B'Siman Tov. Do not forget to say Beracha Harona. We are going to say Kaddish Al Israel right away. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia.